Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Sal the Car Gal, and let's talk about some F1 stuff. First race of the season! Australian Grand Prix definitely delivered. And I'm so happy that I could be there. I was there in the flesh, and it was amazing. Very, very grateful that I could be there. But let's talk about it. So, the Australian Grand Prix takes place at the Albert Park Circuit, obviously. It is a street circuit of 58 laps, 14 turns, 4 DRS zones. It is a track length of 5.278 kilometres. So, my favourite part was obviously being at the race, being a part of the action, and getting to see cars on track again. And obviously, the best part, I got this new hat. I thought it was very fitting. Charles Leclerc, number 16. Not too bad. Not too bad, I think. I do a good job of getting front. Like, look at this bad boy. You'd think I was a Ferrari fan. Yeah, I think just being able to see them on track, being able to be a part of the action was just an absolute vibe, I would say. And as I said before, super grateful to be there. Loved it. I sat in the Fangio grandstand in the front row, and I was right across from the McLaren pit wall. George, starting P4, was like right in front of me. Well, he was on the other side of the track, and then Yuki was on our, like, close to our side of the track, but slightly like further down. But George was right there. Probably my not so fave parts were, I mean, they kind of made it more exciting, but it was all most of the rookie DNFs, and Oscar almost DNFing. It made it more exciting, but I was also very heartbroken for them because that is sad. And you can't ever have your first race back. Like once your first race is done, that is done, and then you continue on, and you can't get it back. So I can understand, especially Isaac, for being as sad as he was. I was sad for him. I was heartbroken for him. So, yeah, that was probably my not so fave part. Let's talk qualifying. Highlights of qualifying was Oscar almost getting his first pole. So bloody close. So bloody close, and then Lando snatched it right off him. But I'm okay with that. I am a Lando girly. I do think it was a very good lap from Lando. Ollie had a gearbox issue from the practice session, so he couldn't set a time, so that's why he started last on the grid. Lawson not having the start of the season that he probably wanted. And I do strongly believe that car is cursed. That second Red Bull seat is freaking cursed. I really do believe that, because Daniel, when he was in it, was the only one that seemed to be able to match Max's sort of streak, per se. But no one else has been able to. And it's not looking good. It's not looking good. But on another note, Williams being in Q3. Q3 for the Williams. I was stoked. As a newly converted Williams fan, I was so happy for them, super happy for them. So that was really good. And also Hamilton had a spin in Q2, causing some yellow flags, which meant that Doohan had to abort their lap. So I think he may have been up higher on the grid if it hadn't have been for the yellow flag. So that was kind of highlights from quali. And how the grid then turned out was P20 Behrman, P19 Ocon, P18 Lawson, P17 Hulkenberg, P16 Antonelli, P15 Bortoleto, P14 Doohan, P13 Stroll, P12 Alonso, P11 Hadjar, and then our final P10, or P10 to P1, P10 Sainz, P9 Gasly, P8 Hamilton, P7 Leclerc, P6 Albon, P5 Tsunoda, P4 Russell, P3 Verstappen, P2 Piastri, P1 Norris. Now, I did in fact see a nice little video on the internet that in the first race of the season last year, Norris and Piastri qualified P7 and P8. I'm going down the Ferrari delusion. Follow me. And they then went on to win the Constructors' Championship. I'll just let that sizzle for a hot minute. And guess where Ferrari qualified in the first race of the season? P7 and P8. We'll just let that take a ride. Yeah, so I'm in a delusional state about that. But that's okay. I can be in a delusional state about that because I am a Ferrari fan and we constantly live in delusion. So, the race wrapped highlights was absolute chaos. Sad chaos at the very start with Isaac crashing on the formation lap. I was honestly heartbroken. Then Jack Doohan not making it into the race at all either. That was a bit sad. And then the weather. The weather all weekend was typical Melbourne weather, which, I have always heard about Melbourne weather being, 4 seasons in a day, but I didn't know it until this weekend because it was so hot on Saturday. Oh my God, so hot. And then Sunday it was raining. Then about halfway through the race, there was clouds in the sky, but not crazy clouds in the sky, like, rain clouds. Then about 10 minutes later, it starts bucketing down again. Then the rain stops, the sun comes back out again. And then as soon as the drivers are on the podium and doing their champagne spraying, it starts raining again, and a lot heavier than it was in the race. And then it was fine. Then it wasn't raining. And I was like, what is going on? And I walked all the way home because the tram lines were crazy. So if you're ever in Melbourne, stay close to the track, or at least stay close to a tram line that you just have to get on and one stop, like just a few stops away. Like, it was mental. And it took me about an hour and 10 minutes to walk all the way home. I mean, it was a very pleasant walk, but, I obviously would have preferred to go on a tram. But yeah, the tram lines were crazy. But I think the reason for that is we beat another record this year, that there was over 460,000 people across the whole weekend. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But very, very happy about that because, AusGP, it slays. It's a good race. It always has been. I'm just happy I was in a grandstand and had a seat allocated to me, because I don't think I would have found a spot that I could actually see. So, very happy about that. Other highlights. The Ferrari wet weather setup. I don't know if this is really a highlight, it's maybe more of a low light. But yeah, they sacrificed their qualifying for a wet weather setup. But I would say they it was wet. It was definitely wet, but I wouldn't say it was wet enough to do a drastic complete revamp of stuff. Like, they were doing so well in practice. And yeah. So I'm like, not again. But that's okay. That's okay. They learn and they'll do better next time. And very underrated drive from Antonelli, going from P16 to P4. I'm a Kimi fan now. I'll put my hand up. I'm a Kimi fan now. He is such a sweetheart as well. Such a sweetheart. And I think he's just over the moon and stoked that he is where he is. And I mean, so would I if that was my dream. Yeah, he is so underrated. And I think Toto has scored big there. 100%. 100%. And finally, Lando's first time leading the World Championship. The first time, and I think I saw the stat, it was like 1,047 days that Max has led the championship. And obviously that streak has stopped now. So, yeah, spicing it up 2025. We love. I'm just so happy that cars are back on track. We've got the Chinese Grand Prix this weekend. I'm super happy about that. It's just, F1 is my happy place, and I'm just glad that it's back, because it's the best thing ever in the whole entire world. And now I've got my mum and dad hooked, so my job here is done. So let's talk predictions. And I was almost on the money with this one, to be fair. Not all of them, just some of them. So I predicted Charles Leclerc pole position. No. Lando Norris obviously got pole position, so no points for me there. My rogue prediction, which is where I cooked, to be honest, I said 5 DNFs, and technically I got that correct. There was 6, but I'm going to take that, because I'm going to take that. My delusional prediction was that there was going to be double Williams points, and I was close. I was very close. Albon got points because Carlos didn't finish, which I was really sad about, because I was really rooting for him. Like, I really want him to do well. I really want him to do well, but alas, he couldn't finish the race. Sad. Anyway, let's move on to my P1 to P5 predictions. And I always find the first one to be a little bit tricky, because you really have no idea what is going to happen. So I just went with delusional, to be fair. So my P1 was Charles. It was in fact Lando. My P2 was Lando, when in fact it was Max. My P3 was Lewis, when in fact it was George Russell. My P4 was Oscar Piastri, but it was Kimi Antonelli. And P5, I predicted Liam Lawson, but it was Alex Albon, which, you know what? I'm super stoked with that, to be fair. it brought us some spice. Now, like, the championship's all a bit, like, really weird because, you know, we've got Sauber up there who, you know, Nico scored 6 points and they only scored 4 points all of last year. So he's already outscored their whole year of scoring points last year. So I think actually slay to Nico, for one. Then we've got McLaren leading the championship and Mercedes in second place because we've got George and Kimi scoring up there. So stoked about that. Williams and Sauber are above Ferrari. Come on, boys. Let's get our act together. And everything's just all up in the air. So who knows where this year is going to go. And I'm excited for it. I'm super excited for it. So my extra little notes are, first of all, apologies that this took so long to come out. I literally only unpacked my suitcase from Melbourne like 2 days ago. So, thriving. And I just had so much of a good time that I've just been so exhausted and didn't get to do anything that I wanted to do. Post-race depression is real. And, like, you never think it's going to be bad. And then you come home and you're like, oh my God, I was just at an F1 race. Like, what do I do with my life now? I have to go back to normal. This is why I need to work in F1, so I always know that there's going to be another race that I can attend. Like, the Mondays are tough, man. Mondays are tough after an F1 race that you've been to. It's not, I don't feel it as much when I watch it on TV at home. But because you've been there, like, the atmosphere, and then you're just, like, coming down from that, like, high and that adrenaline rush, I'm just like, I want to be back at a race. Luckily, I'll be in Singapore. But I think, that's what I was saying. All the things that I wanted to do, like, I wanted to interview some of you guys and get some content for social media, but my phone was being so screwy. I've actually had to get myself a new phone because my phone kept dying on me every 10 seconds. So, yeah. And I didn't have any reception at the track. It is shocking. Yeah, so that is my extra notes. I had a great time. Thank you, Formula One, for putting on a spicy race. And I can't wait for the next one. So, thank you everyone so much for listening. Don't forget to follow along on social media and leave a comment or a rating or review in 5 stars if you love it that much. Also, for my YouTube watchers, subscribe to this channel, please, so you know when I'm posting. And anyways, have a beautiful day and an amazing week, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.